That Dan Skelton, the long-serving assistant to trainer Paul Nicholls, is to leave Ditcheat at the end of the season to set up on his own. And I'm thrilled to say he joins us on the line now. Good afternoon, Dan.
Good afternoon.
And I guess a hugely exciting move and a hugely exciting prospect for you.
It is, well, exactly that, very exciting, and something that I've given a fair amount of thought to, obviously. And whilst there was never going to be an easy time to sort of leave Ditcheat, I felt that I'd learned an awful lot from everybody down here, and they've given me the best start I could possibly have for going into my own business, really.
And as you say, a huge wrench to leave, but you've been there 9 years, so what has changed, or what's happened to make you think now is the time to go out on your own?
Circumstances, really, that I couldn't control. We'd applied for planning permission to build a gallop on my dad's farm where he keeps his show jumpers, and I didn't think we would get the planning permission half as quickly as we did. We've done so, and when was there a point in leaving it an extra year or anything like that? And I just decided that it was unfair to leave it that long on Paul and Clifford and all the other staff that were here. And Tom Jonasson, who's stepping up into my position, it gave him sort of a bit more stability as well. And I just thought, if I want to do everything right when I'm given the opportunity to do so. And I just felt that it was news that I needed to share. It was not something that I could bottle up and save for 9 months from everybody. I thought best, and I've learned that way as well, best to be open and speak the truth. And the truth was we've got the planning permission. We can make a start of it if we want, and that's what we do want, really.
So you're going to leave in May at the end of this season. You're going to go and set up on your dad's farm. So what kind of facilities have you got in place, and what do you hope to have in place for the time you actually start to train properly?
So this is very much you're hearing very much stage one of a fledgling trainer's career, if you like, because there is no infrastructure in place for racehorses at the moment. I haven't even embarked on getting my licence from the BHA. I've not registered myself for any of the mandatory courses that you have to attend. Obviously, that will all be taken care of in as and when it dictates, it will need to be done. But the physical setup the gallop will be started in March and continue through to April. It's a 6.5 furlong uphill all-weather gallop, and we have a walker in place, or going in at the yard at least. And there's a few more stables going up. It's going to be basically a brand new yard. And a brand new venture. Racehorses have never been trained there before, but the way that the land lies, it does lend itself quite nicely to training racehorses, in my opinion. It's very central to most racecourses. It's right in the Midlands, and my father's very much behind me. My wife Grace very much behind me, and brother Harry, he'd be more or less alongside me. We're going to make the best go of it we can, and very, very excited about it.
So the gallops have yet to go, and you've got to do the training modules. Just remind us, Dan, that involves, what is it, a 12-week course or something, or?
No, it's a mandatory 3 5-day courses covering racehorse and staff management, business, and a course that basically puts you, sort of gives you the knowledge of how to run a racing establishment. So they've got to be taken care of. There's also a 1-day BHA course, Weatherby's course that you have to go through. So it's very much in its infancy, but I just want everybody to know, and especially Paul. Obviously, there's an infrastructure that needs to be, sort of a management infrastructure that needs to be implemented, and given time to settle in before I leave.
And obviously, a lot of planning still to be done, the training course to be done, and the farm to be getting ready. But when would you anticipate your first runners appearing on the track?
I don't really know that, actually. I should imagine it would be October next year. To be realistic, that would be a great starting point. It's the start of the national hunt season proper, and I'll have to compete with everybody, on a level playing field, and it's going to be very difficult to say goodbye to Ditcheat and everybody who's helped me so much. since I was a young boy, really, and showed me so much faith and given me so much knowledge and education. And I just hope I can do Paul proud for what he's the time and effort that he's invested in me.
And you must be able to take some encouragement as well from seeing the likes of Charlie Longston and even Harry Fry in the last couple of seasons go out on their own and make a good fist of it as well.
Absolutely. I've learned from what they've done as well. Obviously, I watch both of them very carefully and will do so even more now. But Paul started with 8 horses 21 years ago, and my view is it can be done. And I'm starting in a very healthy position. I'm going to have the backing of my father, obviously, and the infrastructure that we're going to put in. But I will make it work. And I know that it's from working around Paul so long, it's determination and sort of the gritty attitude that things will happen. And I've got to now make them happen. And I've learned off the best man about how to turn those gritty thoughts and ideas into results.
And in terms of when you start off, how many boxes will you have at the farm to begin with?
There's going to be about 37. There's obviously a little bit more tweaking to be done there, but there's going to be about 37, which will take, I should imagine, some years before they're even remotely filled.
And I guess, as you say, very, very embryonic stages, but in terms of a jockey, will Harry be running for you quite a bit?
Obviously, Harry, is family, and he's somebody who, it goes without saying, I trust implicitly, and I think that he will be able to definitely offer all the feedback and give a professional ride and opinion on any horses that we have. And at this early stage, yes, of course, he's going to be integral to a lot of areas of the business. He's won an Irish Grand National. He's ridden heaps of winners for Paul, graded winners. Things haven't gone quite so swimmingly the last couple of years. That goes without saying. I'm not trying to hide or cover up the fact that it's not been easy for him. But I think underneath it lies a talented jockey who, for a startup trainer, can be very much an asset. And I've always enjoyed working with him. We don't argue too much for brothers. And what's more is I know his dedication will be 100%.
And I think, just thinking back to a bit down there, and you were living together, weren't you, on site, both yourself and your brother, looking after the majority of horses at Paul's place?
Say again, sorry?
At one stage, were you and your brother not living together on site down at Ditcheat, looking after the majority of horses, looking out onto sort of Corto's box and Denman's box?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. For 7 years, my next door neighbour was Corto Star. And then, obviously, just the other side of him was Denman. I'll never ever forget those horses and the others that went with them, Neptune Flange, Twist Magic, Mastermind, the Big Bucks, and the list was on and on. It was amazing. And yes, we did. He lived here whilst he was a conditional jockey for Paul, and we'd check round. If I had to go away for an evening or something, Harry would check round the horses, or obviously when I'm here every day I do. But the last 3 years, me and Grace, my wife, have lived on the yard, and it's the first place we lived together, and it's just been fantastic. The Barber family have welcomed me and educated me and told me when I was wrong, slated me when I was right, and it's been like a second family, really.
And I'm sure
it's just been amazing for me.
Sorry, Dan, I'm sure you've got to take away many, many happy memories, but is there one sort of defining moment or one race that is really going to live long in the memory for you?
Yeah. Denman's second Hennessy when he carried top weight is the only time I ever saw Paul Nicholls cry. And it was for the greatest reasons. And he brought a tear to everybody's eye that day. And it was, there's so many, of course, there's so many great moments. And I've been lucky enough to have all those memories and will remember them forever. But there's something just spectacular about that day.
It was amazing. Well, Dan, you can maybe try and make him cry again. Walk in the office tomorrow morning and tell him you're taking Ruby Walsh with you as well.
I'm not going to push my luck. This has gone very, very well so far.
Well, Dan, it sounds like a really exciting time for you. Best of luck from everybody here at ATR, and I'm sure it'll work out extremely well.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Dan Skelton then off on his own. He's